It's August 31st, 2012. The moon is blue, and I have a bottle of Blue Moon. Even has the orange. I don't know how many of these I can take, whether it's the Blue Moon or the Blue Moon, in 1 month. My oh my. Welcome to Make and Break Radio, episode 81. I am your host, Daniel Calvin. You are listening to RadioMackinac.org. Thank you for joining me. Let's see how long the internets last. And let's have some fun. There's a horse and carriage outside of my house right now, delivering goods. Can you hear it? That was pretty weird. No, actually not weird at all. It happens all the time. I'm pretty used to it. Ha ha! Offense was taken when I asked a man massaging his horse's neck if he was making Wagyu horse meat for good eatin' at the end of the season.
Welcome back to the Real Straight Talk with Daniel Sir Six-a-Lot Kelvin.
The views expressed on the Straight Talk may not be the views of the Make and Break staff or the RadioMackinac.org management.
I'm going to give it to you straight.
I've observed something lately that I think I'm completely bored of. While watching television commercials, as sometimes one is prone to do, the legal disclaimers at the bottom of automobile commercials stating to not attempt. Do not attempt, it says. Sometimes it'll even say, closed course, professional driver. But do not attempt. Have we become that stupid? Do they actually think that I'm going to try to drive my Toyota truck down a ski slope and then do a barrel roll with it? This reached its zenith the other day with a commercial for an automobile driving down a road. It was just driving, sanely. It wasn't doing tail spins on a wet surface. There weren't any power slides happening. It wasn't weaving through cones. It wasn't avoiding animals, wild animals in the streets. No, just driving down the road. And it said, do not attempt. And I thought, wow, I don't understand. What am I missing? And I concluded, well, it was a commercial for a Jeep. And a week later, I saw a Swedish test track video for the Jeep Cherokee called the Moose Test. And this vehicle failed miserably as far as avoiding moose was concerned at 60 to 70 kilometers per hour. And I thought, oh, well, that explains it. This explains everything. Do not attempt. Don't attempt to drive this vehicle. It can't complete the moose test without blowing 7 out of 10 tires. And with that, I concluded that TV is dumb. Yet I keep watching it. Oh my gosh, what have I turned into? Andy Rooney? Really? Just ignore I just said anything. This is one of the problems with live radio. This is what I conclude. I'm sitting here in front of a microphone, complaining about something I saw on TV that I don't understand. What is it with these kids these days? Who is this Bieber's? Commercials, what commercials? They used whatever happened to Pet Milk? Mutual of Omaha. I'm confused. Ugh. I'll write better stuff next week. Trust me. I've been inspired lately. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Thanks for listening, everybody, to Make and Break Radio episode 81. Hope you're having fun. Music's been pretty good, at least in my opinion. If you have anything that you'd like to add to the show, whether it's music or comments or complaints, suggestions, etc., contact me at podcast@makebreakshow.com. That's podcast@makebreakshow.com. The other day, a friend of mine via online forum of sorts was wondering, essentially aloud, whatever happened to the Michigan Bell lady. At the tone, the time will be 11:56. And while I don't know what the Michigan Bell lady sounded like since I grew up in Ohio, I do certainly know that there was an Ohio Bell lady, and for all I know, it was the same lady. She worked for the Bell system, perhaps. But what I could share was that if he missed that and it's no longer available, the CBC at 1 o'clock does at the tone, it'll be 1 o'clock, and it'll boop, and you know it's 1 o'clock at the third beep. And we were bantering back and forth, and at some point my friend had suggested that whatever happened to the Michigan Bell voice time lady? Was she strung out on meth? Had she just lost her way after digital recordings and devices were able to replicate her with ease? At some point I had concluded that I made up a wiki page for her that stated that she was a voice model for AT&T's voice simulator, later married Don LaFontaine of movie trailer fame, and had a little girl named Siri. You might know her. But then, poking around later on that afternoon, I didn't have anything to do. I just searched like Michigan Bell voice, something like that. It was a pretty easy Google search. And I ran into this Macintosh users group and a post written by a guy named Stephen Gold. And he writes, "I met the time lady. Really?" He says that he was giving a speech in Macomb at Macomb Community College. He was doing this speech, and he had mentioned as a child he used to dial the time lady, Greenwich 21212, not knowing it was a recording, and to try to get her to answer him. All of a sudden, one of the attendees, an older lady, announced, "That's me! I was the time lady for Michigan Bell for many years." And this is where it gets interesting, because that part wasn't at all. She explained that the time recording was a phrase that she recorded. At the tone, the time will be, say. And then the recordings of the individual numbers, 1, 2, 3, etc., all recorded separately, sometimes followed by an o'clock AM or o'clock PM, followed by the beep. Each part was recorded on magnetic tape loop, and the tape went across the head that wore out so fast that it had to be re-recorded every week, and that was her occupation. That's what she did. At the tone, the time will be 8:15 p.m. Boop. That's really cool to me. And, boy, this show's a real clunker. I'm having fun. Whatever. Coming this September, Lobsterfest beer. Buy it in the pint, buy it by the schooner. Lobsterfest beer comes with a free sidecar of clarified butter. Sometimes I'm stopped in the streets and I'm asked, "Dan, what do you do in between your interesting banter on your radio show, Make and Break Radio?" And I said, "Oh, you mean, during the songs? Well, if I'm not dancing, oftentimes I'm piddling around the house, maybe tidying. Tonight, for example, I am cooking down some tomatoes. I picked some tomatoes out of the garden this afternoon, and I'm stewing them a bit, and then I'll run them through the food mill, maybe reduce them down into sauce, but otherwise I'm just going to go ahead and sterilize some jars and jar up that juice, reduce it down later." That's right, I can. while streaming internet radio. Aren't I fascinating? I thought my eyeglasses were bent. It turns out that one eyebrow occupies more real estate than the other. I'll use that one more when intrigued, for emphasis. Lately, I have found myself befuddled by the disclaimers displayed in very small print during automobile commercials. This confusion started with a Toyota Tundra, or Dodge, hell, I can't even remember, commercial that showed a full-size truck driving down a ski slope, jumps and all. "Do not attempt," the ad told me. I was thankful for that instruction, as I was about to leap off of my bar stool and, after stealing the first truck I saw, drive to Colorado to test its ability. Today I saw a Fiat commercial that showed Fiat 500s driving out of control into the ocean like lemmings. I know that these vehicles are only the size of lemmings, but such displays are absurd. Why would I want to drive a car that hates Italy so much that it throws itself into the ocean so that it can drive itself to America? Is this some absurd display of its fuel economy? What if I did buy one of these seawater-flooded Fiats? What if, after explicitly showing its fickle nature, decided that America wasn't all it was cracked up to be? Could it happen that I'd be driving down Route 75 and that in that moment my 500 concluded that Brazil seemed like it held more promise? What would I do? Tuck and roll? Venture on down the road, possibly to meet the girl from Ipanema? All the while, on the bottom of the screen was written, "Do not attempt." There is another ad for some dumb sedan. Hey, don't be insulted, you sedan drivers. I am allowed to make sedan comments since I, too, am a sedan driver. Anyway, this car is shown driving on the correct lane of an empty road, traveling at a rate that appears to be the speed limit, likely for that road. I waited for some drifting. None came. Maybe some kind of water splash skid stop. Nope. Not even a jump. On the bottom of the screen, you guessed it, do not attempt. What are they trying to communicate here? Do not drive this car in a rational fashion? Are they telling me that I should drive this sedan into the sea and venture off to Portugal? All of this is nonsense. And I'm about to go off the rails. Speaking of rails, trains never confuse me. This has been Straight Talk Straits for July 20th, 2012. And I am Daniel Calvin. I have something fun to share with you tonight. If you are at all curious about the backing tracks I'm using for any of the voiceovers I'm doing tonight, and actually preferring those over to the claptrap that I've created for this week, those tracks are performed by an artist out of Chicago, Illinois, goes by the name of Willie Beats. He's got 2 albums out this summer. One is Spring Cleaning, came out in June, and the other one is called The House, came out this, just actually today. Fresh today. Hot tracks from the album called The House. That's Willie Beats. You can buy the album on Bandcamp. Look him up, williebeats.bandcamp.com. That's williebeats.bandcamp.com. I've been having a lot of fun. No, I have not received his permission, nor have I asked his permission to use his tracks. So I figured that this little plug would kind of help that out until I hear back from him. That's williebeats.bandcamp.com.